Well, to change gears just a little bit, there's a question about how to increase organ donations, perhaps by paying families of those who have died. So what's wrong with that? The controversy in Dimension is next.
And later, how Minnesota...
In tonight's Dimension, a drastic proposal to ease the shortage of organ donors.
It's a proposal that split experts at the University of Minnesota. Critics say it amounts to buying organs from the poor to give to the rich. First, though, here is a look at just how severe the shortage of donors has become. Nationwide, 25,000 people are now waiting for various transplants. Every day during that wait, 7 people die. What's more, the shortage is getting worse here in Minnesota. It used to take 6 weeks to get a new heart. Now it takes more than 6 months. In tonight's Dimension, Dr. Michael Breen shows us a drastic solution to a drastic problem.
As scary as this operation is, it's not a transplant that patients fear. It's the threat they'll never get one. Their wait for a donor is often a race against time.
Oh, you're putting it in.
For Gerald Arcand, that race began in November when his heart disease got worse. He's kept alive by a daily medication. It's injected into this tube, which goes straight to his heart.
Sometimes I don't think it's worth living. It's that bad.
Does the hope for a transplant keep you going?
I think that's the only thing that's keeping me going right now, yeah.
But for some heart transplant patients, that hope alone isn't enough.
We lose approximately 1 in 4 patients who are waiting for a heart transplant will die of their disease before a donor organ becomes available.
The tragedy is, for every donor a hospital finds, 4 potential donors are lost because families object to the procedure. Now, to get more of those families to cooperate, some transplant experts have made a controversial proposal. That proposal is to pay $2,000 toward the funeral expenses of any organ donor. A family that agreed to donate a loved one's organ would have one less burden to deal with.
I am actually for it. It's to compensate somebody who did come forward philanthropically and allow organs to be used. I feel that there's no problem with that.
Dr. John Nigerian says he'll back almost any plan that allows him to save lives. But critics say the new proposal has a tinge of racism.
A person who is, as I say, president of IBM or Cargill or even a first-line manager generally won't need $2,000 to help with burial expenses.
Suddath says the people who need that money are the poor and disadvantaged, often the black. The specter of making the poor the organ donors for the rich has divided experts at the University of Minnesota.
Let's face it, the group that's targeted with these ideas, whether it's cash rewards or funeral expenses, we're looking to the poor, and we're particularly looking to try and get more donors from the minority community.
There have been charges that it's a bribe, or it's a reward, or it's buying organs. Those charges are there. But I don't feel that way.
One reason Nigerian favors the idea is because more black donors would also mean more black recipients. Nationwide, of the 25,000 people now waiting for transplants, 20,000 are waiting for kidney transplants, and many of those people are black. Blacks are 4 times more likely to develop kidney disease than whites. And the irony is that despite the fact their need for a transplant is greatest, blacks are only half as likely as whites to be organ donors. But critics of the proposed plan say in this case, the price for getting those donors is too high.
Does the end justify the means? I would say not.
Gerald Arcand and those like him see things differently.
If they can save you or if they can save somebody else, why shouldn't it be that way?
Arcand says the needs of the living are more important than those of the dead. But critics say the new proposal turns back the clock. Hundreds of years ago, slavery turned people into merchandise. This time they say it isn't bodies for sale, it's their organs. For Dimension, I'm Dr. Michael Breen.
Expenses for donors is now being considered by the National Kidney Foundation. It's now being debated, and if approved, it would have to bypass a 1984 law. That federal law makes it illegal to sell organs in the United States.